Hypothesis: what if cheese became the most durable building material in the world? Sounds like a joke, doesn't it? One day, in a laboratory high up in the Swiss mountains, a group of scientists was trying to find an alternative to concrete, that age-old material the world has depended on for centuries. And then, an accident in the lab. A piece of emmental cheese fell into the pressure testing machine meant for concrete samples. No one noticed, until the machine began to overheat. Strangely, the cheese didn't break. Not only did it not break, it hardened like stone. Upon investigation, they discovered, when fermented correctly and subjected to high pressure, the proteins in cheese rearranged into a super durable matrix, surpassing even modern concrete. The news spread. At first, just a few science blogs picked it up. Then, an architecture startup in Amsterdam tested roofing made from compressed cheese. No cracks. Waterproof. Excellent insulation. And a gentle scent, like warm pizza, that changed everything. Europe entered the age of cheese construction. In Paris, architects began reconstructing the Eiffel Tower with steel frames and aged cheese coating. In Milan, the tallest skyscraper, called La Torre Parmigiana, rose as a new symbol of engineering, radiating a rich aroma every summer noon. People stopped exporting cheese for eating and started exporting it for building. Each country had its own specialized material. Switzerland supplied emmental for foundations. France exported camembert for soundproofing. Italy monopolized Parmesan for public structures requiring high hardness. Europe, once the cradle of culture, became the hub of bioarchitectural materials. Asia, the Americas, even Africa had to import it. Cheese prices skyrocketed, up 30 times in a year. The first problem emerged: rats, not the pet kind. Wild rats. City rats. Even GPS-chipped lab rats scientists thought they could control. They came like a flood. They began destroying buildings from the inside. An office building in Berlin lost its basement because of a single nest the size of a ping-pong ball. Governments declared states of emergency. A new field was born: rodentology, the study of mouse behavior and their taste in construction materials. One Belgian city tried coating walls with fish sauce as a deterrent, but faced protests from locals and environmentalists due to the intense smell. But that wasn't the end. The explosive growth of cheese construction caused an agricultural crisis. To meet the massive cheese demand, Europe needed 10 times more cow milk. Grasslands vanished. Cows were fed artificial powders. Methane emissions surged, worsening climate change, and thus, cheese, once a symbol of culinary culture, became the villain of the ecosystem. Yet no one could stop. The entire economy had rotated around what used to be just a side dish on bread. Why do humans always choose the strangest path forward? Maybe because we're drawn to things that are both familiar and strange. Maybe because the idea of building an entire city out of what once sat on a pizza makes us feel inventive. Or maybe we're just replacing rigid concrete with something softer to cover up the fact that the world is crumbling inside. The outcome? A decade later, cheese buildings began to decay. One acid rainstorm melted 3 suburban neighborhoods near London like a steamed sandwich. Governments worldwide issued the same decree: stop building with food. Once again, humanity returned to concrete, but now, it was mixed with plant fibers, recycled, and self-healing. Cheese returned to the supermarket. The world returned to normal. In a weird kind of way. And you know the funniest part? There's still one tiny village in Switzerland, living in original cheese houses, not for modernity, not for cost saving, simply because they love the scent of childhood wafting through the morning air. Because sometimes, the craziest things are how we hold on to a bit of our humanity.